What really happens to a marriage once the kids finally leave? A lot. A lot happens. I thought about this because I had a conversation with my friend. So me and my friend were talking, my sister friend, and she was telling me the story that I'm gonna tell you. And I was like, this isn't a story that is uncommon, unfortunately. And I feel like it's important to converse about because her and I were rapping about it. Now you and I can rap about it, especially for those of us who want to make sure that we still feel good and connected in our relationships later on in life, in the future, when your kids are gone, when you become an empty nester, or even when your kids are older and they're not up underneath you in the ways that they were when they were younger, your teenagers and things like that. They're still in the home, but it's not the same. We go through a lot of stages in our relationships and our marriages, and the seeds are sown and the foundation is laying for what we're going to be able to, how we're going to be able to engage, how we're going to feel about each other, how we're going to move in the future. Right now, I'm laying it, you're laying it, depending on your relationship status, you're laying it. And even if you're not in a relationship, often you're laying a foundation because you're working on yourself. You're deciding what you want, what you need. And so, story time, talking to my girlfriend, and she was like, I went to this event. I met this couple was there, or this wife was there, right? She was married, but I think she was the only one at the event. And she was like maybe in her 60s, and she'd been married. She was like, she'd been married longer than we've been alive, right? So 40 plus years, so over 40 years, she's been married. Children, raised children, children out of the house. And she confided in my friend that she was really, really lonely. And I feel like it's one of the saddest things because you're in the same house with your partner, you're building with that person, you chose that person, you've had a life with that person, you've raised children with that person, and you're in the space together, but you feel like you're miles apart. You do not feel connected. You feel disconnected. And it's just like she was like, it broke my heart. And I was like, yeah, it is unfortunately not uncommon, and it does break your heart. I remember my husband, maybe my husband had, when he was doing mobile mechanic work, he had an older couple like that, empty nesters, kids grown, they got grandkids, all of that out of the house. And he was just over the years working on their car, witnessing their dynamic and how distant their dynamic was. And then once the husband had renovated the basement exactly how he wanted it, it was basically a basement apartment. It had a bar, big old TV, bedroom, and stuff down there. Like he was like living down there. Like that was his space. That's where he wanted to be. His wife was upstairs. They only really talked about the kids or hung out when there was my bad y'all. They only really talked about the kids or hung out when there was an event at their house. My bad. I just wanna I get little messages. Okay. Turn that off. But they only did that, they only really hung out then, like with each other and engage with each other. And really, then you have all these buffers because you have your kids, your grandkids in the house to talk to, or you have friends that you have over that you can talk to. You don't really have to just engage with each other. So what happens when all the friends go and the kids go back to their hometown with your grandkids, and it's just the two of you. And what was happening with, my girlfriend was talking about that the wife that she met, they're just going their separate ways. The couple that my husband knew going their separate ways. And this like shook my man. My man was like, we can't, I don't want to ever be like that. And I was like, we won't. I don't believe we will. You can't, there's no crystal ball, but I'm like, I'm feeling in my bones, we won't. And I'm claiming that for myself in our relationship. And there's a reason why. Because my girlfriend was like, how does someone get there? How are you with somebody for that long, built a life together for that long, and then you get to a place where you're not even talking, you're not engaging with each other, you're not having, grown physical intimacy time, whatever that looks like, affection, and on up, right? So you're not doing any of that. And she was like, "Yo, where does that come from?" I was like, well, my response was that it's a very when you're in a space where you're very kid focused It might be like kid focused household when in the child raising years. Everything is really about your kids. All your conversations center around your kids or the responsibility of running the house. Those years where you're like running the house, working, like before you retire, raising kids, taking kids to their extracurricular activities, managing their schooling, their education, what all, all the balls in the air that you're juggling in that season. It is an exhausting season of life for couples. It requires a lot of energy, all of the responsibility, CEOs of a household that you're managing, working one, sometimes two, three jobs, maybe squelching some desires and some visions. Okay, there are mosquitoes out here. I feel it, but it's okay. I'm gonna pay for that later. But you're working, you're doing all the things, and you're exhausted. And even if you have the desire in that season to be like, I want to connect with my spouse, I want my partner and I to talk and to enjoy each other's company. A lot of times you're like, I have no energy left. My energy is spent. And years and years of that, you get to a point where you're an empty nester, your kids are older, and you forget, you don't, it's not in your body. You don't have the muscle memory of how to engage with each other outside of those responsibilities, outside of the kids need something, outside of who's going to take them to the dentist, outside of who's making the appointments for the dentist, outside of who's doing the grocery shopping, outside of what are we going to have for dinner tonight, outside of like, we have to, plan our financial goals for the next month or the next quarter, or outside of like any of that stuff. The seeds for being able to do that are planted in the smallest ways in that season where you're raising the kids and life is life and it's chaotic. And I truly believe, because I've seen it, I felt it, that we overthink it. That we're like, doing that has to look like this, but like we can be tired together. We can choose to be tired together. You're tired, I'm tired. Let's be tired together. What are some things that we do when we're tired together? Let's just lay here, listen to music. Oh, you taking a, nighttime bath? Okay, I'll take a nighttime bath, chill activity. Oh, you reading a book, listening to a book. Let's listen to the book together as we wind down for bed. Like, and even like shameless but not so shameless plug, I have marriage meditations on here that take only a few minutes, just a couple of minutes to just reframe and reset your mindset before you go to bed. As you're doing your bedtime routine, listen to it in your bedroom before y'all knock out, after the kids go to sleep. Like the smallest things. The other day my kids were playing and my husband and I were having a conversation about our thoughts on AI. It wasn't about kids or anything. We were just having a rich intellectual conversation, sharing our thoughts, sharing our thinkings around, what's working, what we think will happen, what's not working, how we use it, the quote unquote pros and cons of it. Just talking about something other than bills, responsibilities, and our kids. And it was maybe a 15-minute, 20-minute talk. We were just sitting on the bed. We ask each other random questions all the time, and I say this to say that we've built a muscle. And this is what I said to my husband. I was like, look, because when he got scared with that couple, I was like, look, we've built a muscle here where we know how to engage with each other and have fun with each other, even outside of date nights. We don't have date nights all the time. Right. It can sometimes be rare just because of how our lifestyle is. So, whatever moments that we have to connect, we utilize those moments, whether it's a quick cuddle, whether it's just like random dance party, whether we're just making each other laugh, whether it's a little booty slap here, whatever it is, we're connecting. We're having random conversations. We get curious about each other. I said, because we're doing that, because we're sowing the seeds of how you and I connect outside of our kids, outside of the things that we have to do. When we are older and retired, I don't know what that's gonna look like for us, but retired and in our older age, God willing, we're together and we've made it together to this place, which in and of itself is such a blessing in life, to be like the partner that you chose, you and that partner make it to the winter of your life together. Man, blessing in and of itself. Um, My bad. It just really is. So I guess I'm having a moment and sitting in that. But you get to that space, I'm like, we're gonna be fine because It's muscle memory for us to be like, oh, we can connect whether the kids are here or not. We're here and curious about each other. We're here working on individual self and growing in, together. See, that's the other thing. Taking that time to be introspective too in that season, working on self, working on his self, myself, your partner's self, growing so that you feel like you've gotten to a place where you understand and are even more aware of yourself now. I mean, well, yeah, you're aware of yourself now, more aware than you were maybe 10, 15 years ago. And then in 15, 20 more years, you're going to be even more aware of yourself because you're continuing to grow and evolve and you're moving with that. You're growing with that evolution and you're not growing against it. Doing that simultaneously with engaging with our partners, that is how we prevent being in a space where we can't connect, where we can't engage, where we don't feel desired or appreciated or wanted after the kids are gone, when we're empty nesters, or when the kids need us less, or when we have fewer responsibilities in the home than we had when we were in the chaotic seasons of our lives in our 20s, 30s, 40s, whenever that's the case. So or 50, I mean, depend, it all. But it really, I was like, yo, girl, it really boils down to what seeds are we sowing now? what what are we putting into our relationship now that we can't? The pace is gonna look different when the responsibilities are high. And the energy and effort is not going to be as long or take up as much time. But it can be intentional with a short period of time. Just we can't overthink it. And let's sow those seeds. Let's lay that foundation so that we don't turn around when we're in our 60s and blessed to still be with our partners. They still chose us, we still chose them, and we're just like blinking and breathing and don't know what else to do. And we turn to someone one day, whether it's a stranger or a friend or a family member, and just have to have that moment where we say, I'm so lonely, and you're in partnership. So I feel like that's what we do to avoid that, to prevent that, to drop into where you are presently in your partnership right now, despite all the chaos. How intentional you being right now with the time that you do have. You don't need more time. Just need the time that you have differently, more intentionally. I don't have a lot of time. I have a 4-year-old boy. He climbing on everything. He jumping. I gotta make sure. Sometimes I feel like, I gotta save you? I'm like, oh, you good? Okay. Um, always on. Unless he's napping or sleeping, like I'm on. I'm like, you good? And he's great. But toddlers are just a different energy and it can be tiring. So I get it. But that's ultimately the desire and the encouragement here is to like, I know folks have desire. I know you probably have the desire. You're in partnership and you have the desire to connect more. Run with that desire. Run with it. Run with it and utilize what you have right now. Um, and for those of you who are in a space like this is resonating, you're picking up what it is that I'm putting down, and you want to make sure that you are happy and engaging together in a way that makes you feel good and lights you up and still feels fulfilling and exciting when you're in the latter years, but you got to start now. But you're like, I don't got a lot of time and you want to go through your own pace. I feel you. I get it. I'm encouraging you to meet me in the description for the marriage reset bundle. That's exactly what it was created for. How do you connect when you have no time? How do you communicate through some of the hardest crap that you do not even want to talk about, or you don't feel like you have the energy to talk about? How do you get to resolution smoothly without the headache? And how do you always come back to each other as partners, even when you're going through a rough season or you're just going through an exhausted season of life? So if that's something that resonates with you, check that on out in the description. I got you. Thanks for hanging with me today for our conversation. Let me know your thoughts down below if you've gotten this far. I appreciate you as well. You're an elite club that actually, watches videos to the end and watches my videos, watching me run my mouth with you and converse until the end. So thank you. Say hey down below so I know that you've gotten here and you're in that special elite percentage and club of folks. And yeah, I'm Imani. I make videos to encourage us to stay connected, connected to yourself, connected to your partner, and connected to building the life and creating the life that feels good to you because we only get the one. So if that's your vibe, please subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.